Hey guys, and welcome back to another video, and I finally caught up all the videos, which will be good. This weekend you'll get the better, or at least the more on time video releases, etc. And so that'll be good. But we are up to the tipping video for round 3. We'll review the tips for round 2, etc. And let's just jump into it. So round 2, I actually scored a 6 out of 8, which is bottom 42% still, somehow. But anyway, total score of 12, and ranking is about 490k out of 830, something like that. But let's get into the tip. So first tip, Hawthorn by 16. I was 4 points off. They won by 20, so that was actually a really good tip in the end. Not gonna lie, better tip than most of the tips in the first couple rounds, because, you know, that was a horrific first couple rounds for me. Then we get to Western Bulldogs against Collingwood. I had Collingwood winning this by 19. They probably shouldn't have won this in the end, but, you know, you take the correct tip and run with it. I was 13 points off there. That's a pretty good tip. Adelaide against Essendon. I had Adelaide by 11. I didn't think they would absolutely smoke Essendon. I thought Essendon would put up a better fight, but yeah, they won by 61, deservedly so. Then you have Port against Richmond. I said Port by 25, even though Port had come off a pretty disappointing loss in round 1 against, who was it against? Let me see. I forget who they've already played. Port Adelaide played Collingwood, yes, and lost by 80 odd or 90 odd. So yeah, they were disappointing in round 1. And let's go to round 2 here. So they bounced back pretty strong. Then I had Geelong by 35, and yeah, they just got smoked in the first quarter. It was like 51-20 or something midway through the second. So they ended up losing the game, and that was disappointing for them. They couldn't come back in the end. They had the opportunities, they just got flustered in the last quarter. So they ended up losing to St Kilda, and it blows this, I guess, wide open, everything here. Brisbane against the Eagles. I thought Brisbane would win more convincingly. If you take out the first quarter, I think it was like 32-5 at quarter time, something like that. If you take that out, then it's 43 to like 90 or so. So that's where you get the big margin. But yeah, they just had a horrific first quarter. Then you have North getting I should rephrase that. Melbourne got smoked by North Melbourne, not the other way around. So I was wrong on that. I didn't think Melbourne would put up such a bad performance, but they did. So they ended up losing by 59. So I was 89 points off there, basically a 15 goal swing to what I thought. And then Sydney got over the line. I said by 13 points. They won by 10. They won by 3, sorry. I was 10 points off. I got that confused. But yeah, in the end, I thought that was a pretty, really, really horrific roller coaster game to watch. As a Swans fan, I'm pretty sure. Not, even though they were on the other side of the result, that Freo would feel we're on the other side of the result, they'd feel pretty much the exact same, just a little bit more hurt. But yeah, that was a really, really poor game from both sides. It probably should have been about 85 all, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. Swans fans take the win into the bye. Hope that our players can just get a rest, because they look already like they've been belted. Then we get to round 3, and we have Essendon against Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide just looked the goods at the moment after round 2, and they're coming off a win, and Essendon's coming off a drumming. So I'm going to go Port Adelaide in this game. I really do think that Rosie's showing out at the moment, and I think he'll do really well. But I'm going to go Port Adelaide in this game by 30 points. I just think that they'll be able to defend a lot better than Essendon can, and I just don't know if Essendon can defend well enough. Then we get the likes of Carlton against Western Bulldogs. Carlton without Harry Mackay, it sounds like. So a lot of work on Curnow, who probably won't be 100% fit. So there's that. So I'm going to go Western Bulldogs in this game. I think they looked really good against, or pretty good against the likes of Collingwood. They were unlucky, I think, with the free kicks, and they're also missing a lot of their guys. So I think they'll be able to win this game. And I'm going to go Western Bulldogs in this game by 15 points. Then we get to these Saturday games. You got Gold Coast against Melbourne at the MCG. I'm going to go Melbourne in this game, and I know Gold Coast are favoured in this, and they've won their only game against, who was it? West Coast, which West Coast aren't much. I'm going to go Melbourne in this game against Gold Coast here. I think Melbourne, with the return of May and Lever projected, I think they'll play a lot better, and I think their backline will be a lot more sorted, which will help out every single thing, because their backline looks like an absolute shocker in the last game. And it was the last quarter that they just got absolutely smashed. They were only down, I think, 3 goals at 3/4 time, which is still bad to North Melbourne, but I think that they will improve. So I'm going to go Melbourne in a little bit of a quote-unquote upset, and we're going to Melbourne by 9 points, because remember, Gold Coast still can't win away, I don't think. They went to Optus Stadium and won, but Optus Stadium, most teams win at this point, but I think they won last year at Optus or something, which they should be. But Gold Coast barely don't win in Melbourne that well. Then we get St Kilda against Richmond. You have to go St Kilda. They looked really, really good against the likes of Geelong. I'm pretty sure they have players returning as well, which should help. And Richmond just seemed to, that was reality check, and I don't know if they'll win too many more games this year. So I'm going to go St Kilda. They looked really good. I'm going to go St Kilda by 36. Then we have Hawthorn against GWS. Hawthorn running absolutely hot. GWS off the bye though. That'll be intriguing to see how that works. A lot of people were going for Hawthorn, rightly so. They won 3 games. They won against Sydney, they won against Essendon, and then they won against Carlton. GWS have won both games against Collingwood and against Melbourne, but they barely got over the line against Melbourne. I'm going to go Hawthorn in this game. I know that is sort of the common thing here, but I'm going to go Hawthorn. I think that they're just running so hot at the moment. I'm going to go Hawthorn by 24 points, but be wary of Giants off the bye. They get Briggs back as well, which should help them dramatically. Then we get Brisbane against Geelong. Geelong looked really poor in terms of just efficiency in that game against St Kilda. They had the goods to be able to win. And I know Tom Stewart could be back or as a test, as well as Bailey Smith. But I just think that Brisbane, I don't know how long Loman's out for still, but I just think that Brisbane are really heating up and they'll do really well in this game. And I think that they'll be able to win at the Gabba here by, I'm going to go 16 points. I think it will still be relatively close. Adelaide against North Melbourne. I think you're going to go Adelaide, but I don't think it will be probably the margin that people are expecting here by the big split here, 97-3. I don't think it will be that lopsided in terms of it, because when you see 97-3, you think like 45, 50 points. I don't think it will be that. I think it will be more like 20 or so, but I'm still going to predict Adelaide to win this by 18. I do think North Melbourne give up a lot more of a fight here. I think that they've finally found a way to use their midfielders and their forwards more efficiently. But yeah, I just don't know if North Melbourne's got anyone returning as well. Adelaide had this clean bill of health as well. Then you get the last game of the round, Fremantle against West Coast Eagles, the Western Derby, but it's also 17th versus 18th. And I'm going to go Fremantle. West Coast just looked horrific in the second half. Disinterested, I would say, as well. Freo's, they came up in a scrappy game against Sydney as well, and I think that they're just going to get better. They also have guys returning as well, which should help them out. I'm going to go Fremantle in the Derby by 19 points. I know that probably is a little bit closer, but I do think that it's a Derby, so West Coast will show up a little bit. But anyway, those are the tips for the round. If you guys did enjoy that video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. If you are listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a rating over there, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be the game review, fantasy and Supercoach wise, of the Port Adelaide Essendon game. So I'll see you guys in that one tomorrow. Bye guys.